Okay, just want to check something out real quick and see if this is it's occurring or it is happening. I'm starting to realize more and more and more that the level of of connectivity or of connection um, when it comes to um, being a privilege um, in the and having accessibility um, to certain people and into certain things. There seem to be a disconnect. So, but needs to say, one still must try to do his best to use his or her ingenuity as well as one's creativity and one's imagination. Um, I'm aware that Einstein says that he would take he made had concern as pertains to knowledge and imagination. He said, "Well, give me the." He would take the imagination over knowledge. You imagine things to come into fruition, or that which can make things, happen. It is the imagination of someone, but at the same time, you still need the knowledge. And then that reminds me to John Jackson when he tells about in his book Man, God, and Civilization, what makes a civilized society. You need scholars and scientists. Yes, and he deal with regression versus progression. So it's about progression, not regression. Then that leads me to understand that the past is not a place of residence. It's just a reference point. So if any treatment that needs to be done amongst humanity, it is, I call it reverential treatment. Having reverence, that what you have reverence for is all of creation. Yes, you reverence it, uh, you revere it, and you respect it. And when mentioned earlier, start off about this disconnect, you see, and I realized that one must reconnect what has been disconnected, and I would like to say it is the common, mature, benevolent community. And that means that we find our commonality in our humanity that will ensure cooperation um, and trust. Yes, because also in addition to that, I realize that if anything has been violated, is the trust. So we have mistrust one for another. So when you have mistrust, you become uh, dislocated and disjointed. Yes. So, and that be the case, I like to say that society is under a social reconstruction, whereas our feelings are becoming desensitized. Yes, and it is evident of that in the society in which we live, whether we're conscious of it or or incompetent conscious about it, or competent unconscious is conscious about it, and that which we are conscious of uh, is associated to that which we become aware of, and that which we are aware of is and that which surrounds us. It is our surroundings. And anytime you deal with surroundings, you have to deal with environment or climate. Yes, and when the uh, surroundings of the surroundings as it pertains to the environment is not as friendly or as pleasant, because friendly and pleasant are just one and the same. A pleasant person is a friendly person, and there is a book that deals with metaphysical Bible dictionary said that supremacy really means one who's pleasant, one who's friendly. Yes, and we know in the society in which we live, when we have inferiority versus social inferiority and superiority. But by nature, uh, we're all what we call um, our superior, and that is the understanding. This is that which distinguish any people or any people from another is the use of their faculties. Yes. But then again, there is the misuse of one's faculties, because that which is strange to me is that when humankind put their use their uh, mental physical abilities and their mental faculties to put people at odds with one another. That's just kind of strange to me. Yes. So when I said that society is under a social reconstruction, we're talking about one's feelings, and you can talk about two words: empathy or sympathy. Yes, and I've come to know that one's purpose is to be, is associated with being, very sympathetic. And what I mean by sympathetic, it's not that you have experienced what others have experienced, but as a human being, you have some sympathy for the next human being. Yes. Uh, it is like sometimes I realize that some folks could have more sympathy for a cat or a dog or even a hamster, but yet have no sympathy for a human being. Yes. So, and we deal with feelings now, feelings. Yes. And I like to say that one of the challenges that many face is feelings of inadequacy, and because what needs to be addressed really is one's aspirations. Yes, because when inspiration comes down, aspiration goes up. Yes. So, in the feelings of being desensitized, is you there is a saying that dealing with ostrich, and that everybody some folks will understand Theodore Herzl. Um, then you deal with the Zionists and the called the Jews. Then wanted, they needed sovereignty in order to not to be looked at as a minority, not to be taken advantage of. Yes, they needed a state. Yes. So, and I was dealing with um, the feelings of being desensitized. Yes, desensitization of one's feelings and one's emotion. You become, very emotionless. Yes. I think that was the incident that took place in Chicago, where is that a brother, young fella, who has been influenced by the larger society, and that's another key point: thought control and mind manipulation, and the influence that the larger society has had on the on people. Yes, is that the young fellow was walking in the street, and he had I think he pulled out a knife, but then there was uh, really it would seem to be no threat or a but I think there is a law. You got to stand a certain feet away. I mean, if you are close, maybe 20 feet to someone or somehow that's considered to be a threat. So it justifies one protecting himself or herself. Yes, that's the law. But needless to say, uh, you still have to use your own discretion. Um, yes, think. But the perception that is given um, and the influence by the larger society, that is perceived as a threat and backed by law. Yes. So then the young fella, of course, uh, lost his lost his life. Yes, and needless to say, and then there was an incident that took place, of course, in Florida. A brother had um, he got killed, and he really was no threat because there's an Islamic term that says assalamu alaikum. When you say assalamu alaikum, you greet one in peace, which means we're no threat to each other. We're no threat to each other. But yeah, in addition to that, the brother turned his back, turned and walked away, and got shot him. But yet the attorney that's representing the brother, doing I think some law people create called law that policymakers created, I suppose, says stand your ground law, and the only ground I know is the position that I stand is a position from respect. Yes, and respect is in the Latin sense is to look at the ability of a person, accept him or her as they are. So, and of course, the brother wind up dying. Yes, collapsing and dying. It's very tragic, very tragic. But yet, in many instances, that the attorney for that particular case, he was saying that that the other guys that was there were going to jump on him. I mean, if you, I mean, I wasn't there, but what I saw. And I know when you talk about what comes out of the minds of people, we're talking about what comes out of the mind. And what comes out of the mind is that which influenced them. And one thing I am against is intellectual prostitution. Now, I mean, I wasn't there, but, come on, man. You know how people in the society, the influence that society has, how they think that, people of a darker hue, they call black people, you're supposed to be violent. I mean, come on now. I mean, when you deal with violence, you're really dealing with a people who have a deep sense of insecurity and feelings of inadequacy about themselves. So they become obsessed with violence. They become very aggressive. Yes. So, and environment plays a part on that too. And environment plays a part on their attitude. So, then the brother was, I say brother, but he was, is convicted. Yes, and he seemed very it seemed very appalled, and but the justice is you would think that for the family there's a justice has been served, but justice is just a theory. You know what I'm saying? Yes, it's just a theory. Yes, and, think about it. And if it is a theory, the theory must be put into and put into practice. Yes, and justice is you're dealing with something that is built on equity, and they call it equality. So so yes, if of anything that needs to be convicted, it is the conviction of the correct interpretation in one's convicted in one's heart is the correct interpretation of nature. And when you look at the correct interpretation of nature, it is in a system. It is a system that is of a fundamental truth, based on the fundamental truth. That fundamental truth is unity. Yes, it is unity. So, and that be the case, the family members once again was pleased with the conviction because, you know, if Dr. King said this that the whole structure must be born again. Talking about the structure. And when it comes to America, it must be, his whole structure must be changed because there's structure inequality. Yes. And I think it's Article 1, Section 8 talks about redress. Or Congress has the right to control commerce. You know, that's talking about import and export goods. Now, you know, associated with Tariff Acts in China, Tariff laws or Act, whatever you call it. And, you know, as it pertains to people who have the means of power to meet, to control the flow of money, but then there was some other people behind the scene calling the shots. And I was talking about terror. I mean, two leading economies in the world is China and of course in the United States. Yes, yeah. So, but in addition to that, Hill Tree who meets, and when it comes to economic necessities, controls the status. Economic relations controls the status of that relationship. So we talking about that anything is a matter of status control. Yes. Now, it is said that 1787 at the Philadelphia Convention, this country wanted to form more perfect union. They say we got political power, we got economic power. So that's how we control people's social habits. Yes, because planet Earth is a sociological structure. Whereas there are inclusions and exclusion. And I always say, and I've learned that the key to social life is family. Yes, the key to social life is family. Yes, and when you understand the key to social life is family, you understand that there is order. Before anything can manifest itself, it must first have order. It is put into motion. Yes, and when there is order, then you understand your duty. And when you understand your duty, you understand your responsibility. And what is your responsibility? It is a responsibility that deals with accountability. It's about accountability. Because when people talk about sin, it is moral culture decline. And moral culture decline is a recidivism because it's a lack of what? It's a lack of accountability. And that's what we need in the society in which we live. So therefore, I like to say I always try to come in the spirit of cooperation. Yes, because I've learned that adequate cooperation leads to proper communication, and that's how you effectively coordinate your power. Yes, and when you come in the spirit of cooperation, I realize that I must be guided by what is called coordination. And when you're guided by coordination, then you speak from the position, or speak from that position, but from the authority of resiliency. And I realize that resiliency is the author of success. Now, we're living also in a society where that people are driven trying to find a place of belonging. So in trying to find a place of belonging, he or she is looking for attention. And they will go to the extreme to get the attention. Yes. And act real silly about it too as well. Needless to say, also it is in a society in which we live, it also plays a part in fostering what I call is foolishness. Yes. But needless, in addition to that, I must confess that even in my personal past life, past experiences, some would say, well, man, you did those things that the young folks is doing there. It still does not justify. Well, someone says that, well, if Cain killed Abel in the English Bible, then Lamech came and killed and said, well, if Cain can kill, he can get away with it. Well, there's no justification in the continuance of doing wrong. Yes, there is no justification in that, and I take no credit for that. And that was shared with me by a brother by the name of James Bevel. Yes, you think what you want to think about the brother, but yes, it was shared by Reverend James Bevel. He shared that with me. Well, yes, so you can't be just happy with crumbs. You can't be happy with just crumbs. I think he also said that when someone gives your child a gift, a little toy to play with, while the person that gave you a gift gave a toy to your child to play with, his son or daughter is making tools. Yes, you know what I'm saying. So you can't be happy with the with crumbs. But then again, we have to be careful here in this regard. It says that wealth can debase you too. Yes, wealth can debase you. Wealth can bring you down. Yes, because, You separate yourself from the people, and you can think of yourself more highly than you ought to, and then that could debase you. Yeah, that could bring you down, because it separates you from the people. So if anything that puts anyone to sleep is probably comfort. Yes, comfort. But yeah, when you go to sleep and you wake up out of your comfort, yes, you will wake up with the poor. Yes, yes, you will wake up with the poor, because they need to rise up. Yes, they need to rise up. Yes. So, in closing, what was this talk all about? This talk really was all about, as usual, um, uh, uh, making adjustments. It's like, because I have to make adjustments. If you're used to something that is in a certain place, and you go back to where you put that, and it helps you find, helps you, to know where your burden is not there, you have to make an adjustment. You have to make an adjustment, because it could be used as a crutch. A crutch, yes, a crutch. It could be used as a crutch, yes. Something that you depend on, or something that you can lean on, And when it's not there, you have to make an adjustment. Um, Anyone who is suffering from any form of disability, he or she um, makes an adjustment. Yes, it is an adjustment that we all have to make. And when you trying to get a clear picture on anything that you're trying to see, because your vision becomes what impaired. Yes, impaired. I guess impaired, not clear. And it makes an adjustment in order to you can see things clearly. So if this talk is anything, it's not only about adjustment. It is about understanding the importance of perception. Yes, perception. Yes. There's a song say, "I can see clearly now when the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles that is in my way." Boy, that's a powerful thing. Yes. And one thing I realized about when you're clear, you're clean. And when you're clean, you are concise. And when you have balance, understanding will speak clearly. So, when you have a clear perception, then you have a clean perspective about yourself, about life. And there are three core values that I adhere to. One is opportunity. And many have an opportunity to advance human excellence when it comes to the human development of human excellence. And ownership is a direct correlation of opportunity. Business people know this, yes. You can hire who you want to hire when you own something. So what I'm saying is, again, we got to own up. That means we have to be accountable and be responsible for the consequences of our own actions. Because be careful what you put out. You may not like how it's come back, because so far many of us, and I like to get very religious, we think that we are not going to give account for our actions. Yes, we think that we are not going to give account for our actions. Well, we're giving account for our actions now, and we're going to always keep giving account. We always have been, due to the consequences of our actions. You see, and I don't want to get into what they call they would associate with the animals, the burning, when the ecology, the burning of the trees or what have you. The smoke. Because it's going to be hard. It's going to be more difficult. In association with the air, the congestion of the air, the pollution of the air. It's going to be more difficult to breathe. Oh, yeah. Yes, that's challenging. And that is kind of frightening, too. So, the opportunity, we have an opportunity that we possibly can correct that. Yes, because the error uncorrected becomes a fact. Marcus Garvey said that. So, we got to clean the air. And my second core value is expression, because everybody have need for self-expression. All of creation is an expression. Yes, it is an expression. Yes, and the third core value is appreciation. Yes, appreciating the halak, or the beauty of creation, the beauty of life, the beauty of a human being. Just the beauty of the flower, of the plant, of the animals, the beauty. Just look at the uniqueness of all this has been created. And there is not, it says not one blade of grass. It's the same. Yes. So, and we're talking about just to see the wonders and the handiwork of this creation, the clouds, the thunder, the rain, the lightning. Yes, the hands, the digits of your hands, the veins in your hand. The beauty of your skin. You know what I'm saying? The pupil of your eyes, the hair of your eyebrow, the shape of your noses. You know what I'm saying? The shape of your lips, the teeth, the tongue, huh? The voice to be able to speak, and the gestures of our body movement, and what's most important is the reproduction of life. Yes. So there must be an adjustment in our thinking, in our perception, in our attitude, and be clear about it. Then our perspective will be clean. And when there is balance, understanding speaks clearly. So, may we press on in our human development for advancing human excellence. And may we be granted success for our labor and joy for our sorrow. Thank you.